Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, global populations. I'm Fisher here. Right, this first part of the video, first 5 minutes or so, will also be shown on TikTok on my Sam Fisher's Data Talks channel on there. But if you want to watch the rest of it, if you're on TikTok, you'll have to follow the link to my YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to extend a little on something I was talking about yesterday about Rishi Sunak and the general election, because it's awfully convenient, don't you think? Most of you will already know about my cat, Xerxes. For a good long while now, he's been an upstairs cat. We've kind of kept him separated away from the cats down here, mostly because he hates them and people. Despite what his cuteness may sort of portray, he's not a very friendly cat to us people. In fact, he hates people, he tolerates us, really. But usually we have to let him out the front door, so we have control over when he goes in and out. But lately, he's discovered he can open the door down here, and has fancied himself as a bit of a feline Houdini. So he started letting himself in and out all the time now. And every time we come downstairs, he's left the living room door open and he's wandered through and snuck through and gone outside. Usually after we've been looking for him for about 10 minutes, half an hour. Anyway, Marley, our dog, has taken to being somewhat of a canine version of a hall monitor. Even though he loves him to bits every time he goes outside. When he's inside here, no, can't come through here because you don't belong here, you belong upstairs as far as he's concerned. So he keeps scaring him to stay in. And it works. Sometimes, until Xerxes forgets and his namesake's demeanour takes over and he thinks he's king of the world before he goes outside and until Marley does it again. So why am I telling you this? Well, in much the same way as Marley and Xerxes have this strange little relationship of him escaping and then him barking him back in and chasing him back upstairs, so too can be said the same about us and our parliament. You see, just when we're getting things nice and organised, particularly when it's to do with certain petitions and petitions getting a certain amount of signatures, and once you get this certain amount of signatures, then the Parliament are legally obliged to then debate them. These issues that we have on these petitions. Well, there's a funny thing when you call a general election. Any petitions that are sort of ongoing are then cancelled. Irrespective of how many sort of signatures they may have or may have accrued, or even what issues that they may be. That doesn't mean a thing then, because they've dissolved Parliament, so who's going to debate them? It'd be nice if we could get a cattle prod and prod them back in, wouldn't it? But yeah, so all of them have been cancelled. So stuff like getting them to debate the digital IDs, how we don't want them, and what can we do to prevent us having to have them, or same with the CBDCs, or the WHO pandemic treaty, which we'll get to in a minute. That's another one, right? We want to pull out of that and pull out of the WHO. Or then there's to have a proper investigation into the excess deaths that have been happening since COVID. Yeah. since they started injecting people with mRNA. And speaking of mRNA, we also want a full investigation into that. Who's profited from what, and why was it chosen, and why wasn't certain things like ivermectin and HCQ and other things not taken into account and used instead of. Also Brexit, that's another one. There was you see, all these petitions I was actually signed up to myself. But there was one about Brexit as well, and a full investigation into the dealings of each of the members of Parliament and what ties they had to the EU during the period between 2016 and 2021. Sadly, all of them are now cancelled, and the only chance we will get of ever getting them sort of debated in Parliament is to draw them up again and write them up again and get people to sign them again. All of these, FYI, were scraping just at the precipice of 100,000 signatures, each of them. And they were still ongoing. None of them have run out yet. And yet, sorry, general election, dissolving Parliament, can't debate them. Twat biscuits, really are.
So that's really very important. We have given it your best. And as I said, the issue now is, okay, we are where we are. We have traveled a lot. We have progressed a lot, but where are the bottlenecks? And how can we recalibrate and move? I think that's very important. As you know, when we started, the reason you have decided to have a pandemic agreement was because of the impact of the COVID-19. We say on the record more than 7 million people died, but actually that's underreporting. The estimates show that up to 20 million people died. And the whole world was taken hostage. And COVID has affected everybody. Everybody. I don't know if there was anyone who has not been affected by COVID in many ways. Not only losing loved ones, but economic problems, loss of jobs, you name it. So that's why you said, okay, this impact is because the world is unprepared. By the way, still is. And you said we have to do something. So the second message I have is we have to always remind ourselves that. Because we're human beings, when the pain is really less, we tend to forget and move on. But of course we should move on. But we should also remember the problem that happened and not really rest until the solution comes. So reminding ourselves of all the losses we had and to say never again is very important. So when we look for the challenges we have faced and finding a solutions, I think that reminder will help. Then I see the assembly actually as a platform to re-energize this process, to be honest. And let's use it as a platform to give us more energy, inspire us. So my wish is we will come out of the assembly re-energized, inspired. We will try everything, believing that anything is possible, and make this happen. Because the world still needs a pandemic treaty, and the world needs to be prepared, because many of the challenges that caused the serious impact during COVID-19 still exist. Starting from equity, for instance, was the center of this negotiation. So still exist. And we should really prepare the world. So let's continue to try everything, and anything is possible. And as we always say, if there is a will, there is a way. So I'm still positive, to be honest, despite the outcome. That's what I am. That's what I believe. There could be hiccups. The issue is, what do we learn from it and move? This is not a failure. Even when I fail, by the way, many times, I try to learn what happened and then move on. Failure doesn't stop us, should not stop us. But this is not failure. You have really done a lot. You have progressed a lot. I don't call it failure.
So yeah, that leads me to what you've just seen in that video, which is Tedros basically officially announcing that the amendments to the pandemic treaty have failed to pass. And so they're going to have to rework and regroup and renegotiate and blah, 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 blah. But basically, they're sort of conceding defeat. Now, most of you are probably throwing a party and cheering like mad. Yeah, don't be so hasty. Why do I say that? Well, when they concede defeat on something this big, it means they've got something in the pipeline. Something they've been planning on and sitting on for quite a while. Backup plan, so to speak. Now, we know it's not Israel and Hamas because they've already used that one, which was the trump card at the end of the day. So now they're going to have to go for something a little bit more extreme, perhaps. Currently, we have China circling Taiwan, doing drills, exercises. Really? And they're the same type that Putin did before he hopped over the border with between Belarus and Chernobyl, and surrounded Chernobyl to kick off his little excursion into Donbass. Could we be seeing the same sort of thing here, maybe? They used the cover of a drill or an exercise to launch an attack. To say it's not very original, if they did do that, it's a bit of an understatement. They're just copying the Russians. But us Westerners, our Western governments will pretend that they never saw this coming. Of course. So there's that, which would kick off World War III. I mean, they're trying to kick off World War III any way they can. The thing is, it's been prophesied by so many seers, and I know a lot of you don't really hold a lot of weight in people like Edgar Casey or Baba Vanga or Nostradamus and stuff like that. But they did get an awful lot right, especially Baba Vanga. Her most chilling prediction was that World War III wouldn't be like anyone had expected and wouldn't be between the two sides that anyone expects. It will kick off in an unexpected place, and it will be a civil war between the people and their government, and it will spill out all over the people, all the people against their own governments. Just mass civil war across the planet. Each nation fighting within itself and allied with themselves. June is going to be a strange month. A very eventful month, I believe. Something's brewing. I reckon between the 6th of June and the 24th of June, between either of those dates, even on those dates, something will occur that will give the system the distraction they need. It could even be bird flu, seeing as they've been pushing that quite a lot lately, haven't they? It's very strange, considering that the UK government were changing all the laws for that back in 2020, 2021. We thought we didn't notice. Let me show you.
are free from care, free from the darkness.
Yeah. So they kind of gave the game away there. I said when I saw these, this will be the next one. If they try and pull this kind of shit again. So I think this will be Plan Z, because they've already done it once and no one's really sort of, I don't think anyone's going to fall for it this time. Not this time. So, what will it be then? Well, my money's on a world war, but not a nuclear war. I don't think they're that crazy. They still want to live. But I think any sort of action, military action anywhere, is going to spark something off somewhere else. And all of a sudden, a nation's populace somewhere. At the moment, I could see it either being Ireland, France, or even here in the UK. That something's going to kick it off. And Ireland's looking very, very promising in that regard. And I say promising in, not in a good way. It's not really being reported what's going on over there, but I'm hearing a lot of things off a lot of people that things are very dicey. Same with France. France is really on the knife edge. In fact, Europe is on the knife edge, including the UK. It could really kick off anywhere. And once it does, it'll just go puff, 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 dominoes. So be prepared. But also, be hopeful that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I like being wrong. I know it's probably hard for some of you to believe, but I really do like being wrong. Believe me. When I'm right, it scares me because I can see the trajectory of the way things are going. And believe me, you guys don't want to live in my head. Some scary stuff up here, and I can see it playing out. So yeah, let's hope I'm wrong, eh? Anyway, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. I'll see you later.